I exposed my wife at our anniversary dinner. Her secrets left everyone in shock. They say, if you want to know what your wife will be like in the future, look at her mother. I used to laugh at that. My wife, Lauren 33, was nothing like her mom when we first got together. Lauren was sweet, modest, the kind of girl who blushed when you complimented her. Meanwhile, her mom, Cheryl 58, was a walking red flag factory. Divorced 3 times, always chasing younger guys and basically living like she was on a permanent spring break. Back then I thought, Lauren's different. She's not her mom. We got married when I was 28, she was 23. Life was good. We had a nice house, decent jobs, vacations once a year. Nothing crazy but stable. And I thought stability was what she wanted. But after 10 years of marriage, things started to shift. It began with little digs. She'd roll her eyes when I suggested dinner at home instead of going out. She'd sigh and say things like, "God, you're so boring sometimes." Then Cheryl started inviting Lauren on her little getaway trips. Resorts, parties, all-inclusive weekends with rich friends. At first, Lauren played it off like it was just girls' time, but I noticed the changes. She started dressing differently, tighter, flashier, way more skin. She started posting pictures on Instagram that didn't look like the woman I married. Posing with cocktails, expensive handbags I didn't buy, yachts in the background. One night she let it slip. "It's just, life with you is so routine. With mom it's exciting. It's fun." That was the first time I felt my stomach drop. And deep down I knew, the woman I married was slowly morphing into her mother. I just didn't know how far it had already gone. It happened on a random Tuesday night. I was scrolling Facebook, half bored, when a mutual friend tagged Lauren in some vacation photos. Except these weren't the kind of photos she would ever show me. There she was, my wife, in a tiny bikini wrapped around some older guy's neck in a pool, his hands on her hips like he owned her. Another shot, her leaning over a champagne table, cleavage spilling out, with his hand sliding up her thigh. In one picture she wasn't even looking at the camera, she was kissing him. I stared at the screen, my heart pounding, my mouth dry. I called her immediately. She picked up, all bubbly like nothing was wrong. "Hey babe, I'm just at the spa with mom, what's up?" "The spa? Right." Something inside me snapped. I went full detective mode. I scrolled deeper into the album, clicking through comments. That's when I found the one that made my stomach twist. "Best weekend ever, thanks for sharing your friends with us, Cheryl." My wife's mother. Offering her daughter like a party favor. I couldn't stop myself. I messaged the guy in the photo. I don't know what I expected, but what I got was worse than any nightmare. He replied almost instantly, "Yeah man. Didn't know she was married. We had a hell of a time. Your wife is wild, she was the life of the party. First night, she pulled me back to the suite before the bottle service even ended. Hope you don't mind." And then, like he wanted to twist the knife, he sent me a video. I won't describe it in full, but let's just say Lauren wasn't shy. She was on her knees, moaning, hair pulled back, doing things to him she never once did to me in 10 years of marriage. She looked hungry, desperate, like she'd been waiting her whole life to act like this. I dropped my phone. My hands were shaking. My chest felt like it was being crushed. The sweet, modest wife I thought I married? She was gone. In her place was her mother's daughter, living a double life I hadn't even begun to understand. When Lauren came home from her spa weekend, she walked through the door all smiles, tossing her designer bag on the couch like she was a celebrity returning from a tour. "Babe, you wouldn't believe how relaxing it was," she said, leaning in to kiss me. I pulled back. "Relaxing, huh? With whose hands on you?" Her smile froze. Her eyes darted away for half a second, just long enough to confirm what I already knew. "What are you talking about?" she asked, laughing nervously. "It was just me and mom." I cut her off and slammed my phone on the table. The video. The photos. The comments. Her face went pale. She actually stumbled back a step like I had physically hit her. Then came the tears. Instant. Crocodile or not, I couldn't tell. She dropped to her knees right there on the hardwood, clutching at my legs like a child. "Please, please, it's not what it looks like." I was drunk, I didn't even know what I was doing. Mom kept pushing me into it. It didn't mean anything, I swear. I yanked my leg away. "You didn't know what you were doing? You looked pretty damn aware when you were on your knees in that video." Her sobs got louder. "I'm sorry. I messed up. Please don't leave me, I'll fix it. I'll never go with mom again, I'll block every guy, I'll delete Instagram, whatever you want, just don't give up on me." She was shaking, mascara running down her face, her voice breaking like she was on the verge of collapse. And for a split second my heart actually wavered. 10 years together. 10 years of building a life. The woman who once held my hand when I was at my lowest was now on the floor, begging me not to destroy her world. But then I remembered the video. The way she touched him like she used to touch me. The way she laughed when he pulled her closer. The way she looked alive in his arms and dead in mine. It wasn't a mistake. It was a choice. And it shattered me. That night I couldn't sleep. I sat in the dark living room with a half-empty bottle of whiskey, staring at the glow of my phone. The video sat in my inbox like a ticking time bomb. Every time I thought about deleting it, I'd hit play again, just to torture myself. The way she moaned. The way she grabbed his wrist to pull him deeper. The things she whispered, things she never once whispered to me in a decade of marriage. It felt like my chest was splitting open. The rage came first. I wanted to smash the bottle against the wall, drive to her mother's house, scream at both of them until my throat bled. But then came the sadness, the kind that seeps into your bones. I kept asking myself, was I not enough? Was I really that boring? Did she ever love me, or was I just a pit stop on her way to becoming her mother? When Lauren tiptoed in the next morning, her eyes swollen from crying, she crawled onto the couch beside me, curling into a ball. "I don't want to lose you," she whispered. "You're the best thing that's ever happened to me. Please, we can get past this. Please." And here's the part one hate admitting, I tried. I actually tried to forgive her. For a couple of weeks, I let her smother me with apologies. She cooked every night, she sent me paragraphs of love-bombing texts, she offered sex whenever I wanted like it was some kind of band-aid. She promised therapy. She promised to cut off her mom. She promised the world. But every time I touched her, my brain screamed, "She's not yours anymore." She gave herself to someone else. Every time she kissed me, I tasted the lie. And the worst part? It wasn't just about her. It was about Cheryl. The mother-in-law who had groomed her daughter into this lifestyle. Who thought it was normal to trade husbands like purses and drag her child into her chaos. The more I thought about it, the more it felt like I hadn't just married Lauren. I had married her mother's shadow. And no matter how many tears she cried or how many times she dropped to her knees to beg, I knew the damage was permanent. I couldn't carry it alone anymore. I told my parents. I'll never forget the look on my mom's face when I showed her the screenshots. She covered her mouth, tears spilling instantly. "Oh, honey, no." She hugged me like I was 10 years old again, like she could squeeze the poison out of me. My dad? He went red. Slammed his fist on the kitchen table so hard the salt shaker jumped. "That's it. You're done with her. She's not welcome in this family again." My dad's an old school man, calm as stone most of the time, so hearing his voice crack with anger shook me. Lauren begged me not to tell her parents, but I couldn't resist. If Cheryl wanted to play mentor to her daughter in this little whore lifestyle, then she was going to hear it from me. I drove over and laid it all out in front of them. The photos. The video. The messages. Cheryl didn't even flinch. She took a sip of her wine and smirked. "Oh, come on. She's young, she's beautiful. Do you expect her to sit around the house knitting while you grow old together? Men cheat all the time. Why shouldn't women have fun too?" Her stepdad at the time, I forget his name, husband number 3, just stared at the floor looking like he'd heard it all before. Lauren's face crumpled beside me. She dropped to her knees, again, it was her signature move by now, and grabbed my hand. "Don't listen to her." She pushed me into it, she said it was normal. I didn't know how to say no. "Please, I don't want to be like her, I want to be better. I want you." Her mom actually laughed. Laughed. "Better? Sweetheart, you're just like me. And it's about time you admitted it." That was the moment I knew, my marriage wasn't just me versus Lauren. It was me versus her entire twisted bloodline. And no matter how hard I tried, I was outnumbered. I thought the worst was behind me after the fight at her mom's house. I was wrong. A week later, I got a message on Instagram from a guy I didn't recognize. His profile was private, but his bio said Real Estate, Miami. The message started simple. "Hey man, you don't know me, but I think you should." Attached was a photo. My wife, Lauren, at a resort pool sitting on his lap. His hands all over her, her bikini strap hanging down, her smile wide and unashamed. Then came the bomb. We met through her mom. She told me she was single. We hooked up all weekend. I didn't know she had a husband until afterward. I asked him to be straight with me. He didn't hold back. He told me she had invited herself to his suite the first night, how she ordered champagne on his tab, how she was the wildest woman he'd ever been with. He described things, intimate things, that made me want to put my fist through the wall. Things she never once did with me in 10 years of marriage. And then he said the line that still makes my skin crawl. She said, "I get it from my mama." I confronted Lauren that night. She didn't even try to deny it. She dropped straight to the floor, kneeling at my feet like it was her altar, sobbing, "I was drunk, I was lonely, Mom told me it was normal. Please, please, please don't leave me. You're the only man I've ever truly loved." They meant nothing. "You mean everything." Her tears soaked through my jeans. She clung to my calves like I was her lifeline. And for the first time I felt nothing. Not anger. Not sadness. Just numbness. Because now I realized, this wasn't a one-time slip. This wasn't even a double life. This was who she was. This was who she had been all along. And I had been blind. After I confronted her with the Miami guy's messages, Lauren went into full survival mode. It was like she sensed I was slipping away for good, and she was desperate to pull me back. For the next 2 weeks she became unrecognizable. Cooking 3-course dinners every night. Sending me long texts about how I was her soulmate, and the only man she ever wanted. Offering sex every single night, sometimes literally kneeling at the foot of the bed, begging me to take her. She even tried church. Dragged me to Sunday service in a modest dress, crying through every hymn, clutching my hand like she was repenting. She told the pastor she wanted to save her marriage, painting herself as some broken little lamb. But behind the performance, her lies kept unraveling. I found burner Instagram accounts where she'd been messaging men for years. Hidden folders on her iCloud with photos she never sent me, but sent plenty of strangers. Even hotel receipts charged to the joint account, under fake names she thought I'd never notice. Every time I confronted her, she collapsed the same way, on her knees, sobbing, "That was before. I'm different now. Please believe me, I can change, I swear to God I can change." But her words meant nothing. Because here's what hit me hardest. It wasn't just cheating. It was the lying. The acting. The fact that she looked me in the eye for 10 years, told me I was her world while living a second life with her mother as her guide. My parents told me to run. My mom cried on the phone every night. My dad said, "Son, she's not your wife anymore. She's her mother's daughter. Get out while you can." And finally I listened. I stopped fighting her. I stopped yelling. I stopped reacting. Instead I started planning. Quietly. Calmly. Carefully. Because if Lauren thought I was just going to walk away silently, she was wrong. By this point, I knew there was no saving my marriage. But I also knew I wasn't going to just slink away quietly and let Lauren and her mother laugh about how they fooled me. If she wanted to live in lies, then I'd burn them all down. I started collecting everything. Every text, every DM, every hotel receipt. I pulled bank statements showing the money she siphoned from our joint account to fund her girls' trips. I saved screenshots of her burner accounts, her bikini photos with strange men, the messages where she bragged about being bored of married life. I even reached out to a couple of the men myself. Some ghosted. Some didn't care. But a few, bitter, used and tossed aside just like me, were more than happy to send me proof. Videos. Selfies. Dirty messages in her handwriting. Piece by piece I built a case. Not just for divorce, but for exposure. Meanwhile, Lauren kept up her pathetic act. She'd kneel in the kitchen, clutching my hands with tears dripping into her pasta sauce, whispering, "You're all I want. I'll prove it. Please don't give up on me." But I stayed calm. Nodded. Played the role of the hesitant but forgiving husband. Because the more she thought I was buying it, the more careless she became. And then I set the stage. Our anniversary dinner. 10 years married. Both families invited to a fancy restaurant, complete with champagne and speeches about love and loyalty. Lauren thought it was going to be her redemption night, the big performance where she convinced everyone she was the devoted wife again. But me? I was going to turn it into her execution. Because nothing cuts deeper than humiliation. Lauren strutted into that restaurant like she was walking a runway. New red dress, diamonds flashing on her ears, gifts for me of course back when I was still the fool. She clung to my arm, smiling like the perfect wife, kissing my cheek every time someone looked our way. Both families were there. My parents sat stiff, quiet, already knowing what was coming. Her mom, Cheryl, was loud and smug, waving her wine glass like a trophy, already on her third pour before the appetizers even hit the table. Lauren kept whispering in my ear, "Thank you for giving me another chance. You won't regret it. Tonight's the start of a new us." I almost laughed. When it came time for speeches, she squeezed my hand, expecting me to stand up and pour my heart out. I stood, raised my glass and said, "Lauren, 10 years ago I thought I married the love of my life. But tonight I realized I didn't marry a wife. I married a liar. A cheater. A con artist who learned everything from her mother." The table went silent. I pulled a folder from under my chair and laid it flat on the table. Photos. Screenshots. Receipts. Messages. I spread them like cards in a poker game. Her moans caught on video. Her half-naked selfies sent to strangers. Hotel bills from nights she claimed she was with mom at the spa. Gasps around the table. My mom's face pale, my dad's jaw tight with rage. Lauren crumbled instantly. She dropped to her knees right there in the middle of the restaurant, clutching at my pant leg, sobbing, "Please, please don't do this here. I can explain, I'll change, I'll do anything, just don't humiliate me like this." Her mom leaned back in her chair, smirking. "Well, maybe now you'll finally grow a pair and let her live her life. She's just like me. You should be proud." That set my dad off. He slammed his fist on the table. "Proud? Of this? Of turning your daughter into trash?" Lauren wailed louder, trying to cover her mother's words, begging, "Don't listen to her. I'm not like her. I can be better, I swear to God, I can be better." But no one believed her anymore. The image of sweet, modest Lauren shattered in front of everyone. And I felt something I hadn't in months: control. The restaurant turned into a war zone. Lauren was still on the floor, clawing at my leg, mascara streaking down her cheeks, screaming that she could change and be better. Her voice cracked so hard it was almost painful to hear. My mom stood up, tears in her eyes, and said softly, "Sweetheart, stop embarrassing yourself. It's over." My dad, on the other hand, looked ready to flip the whole damn table. He pointed straight at Cheryl and growled, "This is your fault. You raised her to think this was normal. You poisoned her." Cheryl just sipped her wine and smirked. "Oh please. She's a grown woman. Don't blame me because your son couldn't keep her entertained." Lauren was destined for more than playing house with some boring husband. That was it. My mom burst into tears. My dad slammed his chair back and shouted, "Boring?" He gave her everything. Stability, love, loyalty. Things you wouldn't recognize if they slapped you in the face. Her stepdad, husband number 3 or 4, who knows, just sat there red-faced, silent, like he'd seen this circus before. Meanwhile, Lauren's little brother muttered under his breath, "Knew she'd get caught sooner or later." Lauren shrieked at him, "Shut up. You don't know anything," before turning back to me, crawling closer, clutching my hands, her knees scraping against the restaurant floor. "Baby, please. I don't care about anyone else here. Just look at me. Don't let them break us. We can fix this." But there was no us left to fix. I pulled my hands away. "You broke it. You and your mother. And now everyone sees who you really are." The silence that followed was heavy, broken only by Lauren's sobs. Guests at other tables were whispering, phones out, recording the meltdown. Her family looked furious, mine looked devastated, and Lauren? She looked destroyed. And I walked out. Because humiliation was the only justice left. The night of the anniversary dinner should have been the end. I thought I'd walk away, file the papers, and never hear her voice again. But Lauren didn't let go that easily. The very next morning, I woke up to a barrage of texts. Paragraphs upon paragraphs. "I can't live without you. You're my soulmate. I'll never even look at another man again." When I didn't answer, she showed up at the house. I'll never forget the sight. Lauren on my porch in sweatpants, no makeup, barefoot, sobbing so loudly the neighbors came out to watch. She fell to her knees the second I opened the door, clutching my legs, screaming, "Don't throw me away, please. I'll have your children right now, I'll do therapy every day, I'll cut my mom off forever. Just don't leave me." I peeled her hands off me and shut the door in her face. She banged and wailed for nearly an hour before finally leaving. But it didn't stop there. For the next week she stalked me. Parked outside the house. Showed up at my job, crying in the lobby until security escorted her out. She called my mom at 2 a.m., begging her to make me listen. She even sent my dad a letter, handwritten, promising she'd redeem herself if I just gave her one more chance. And the worst stunt? She emailed my boss. Told him I was having a breakdown and needed time off for mental health. Luckily, my boss called me directly and showed me the email. That was the moment I realized she wasn't trying to win me back anymore. She was trying to control me any way she could. But all her sobbing, all her begging, all her schemes did the opposite of what she wanted. They didn't make me love her again. They made me despise her. And while she spiraled, I got quieter, colder, smarter. Because I wasn't done yet. The divorce was coming. And I was going to make sure she didn't just lose me. She'd lose everything. Filing the divorce papers felt like taking a sledgehammer to the chains around my neck. But I wasn't prepared for the circus Lauren was about to turn the courtroom into. From day one, she played the role of the tragic wife. She showed up in a conservative dress, hair tied back, a tissue in her hand. She cried so hard during mediation that the clerk had to bring her water. She told anyone who'd listen that she was fighting for her marriage, and I was cold and unforgiving. Then came the lies. She swore she never cheated, despite the photos, the videos, the screenshots. She claimed her mother forced her into it as if she was some helpless puppet. When that didn't fly, she tried to twist the timeline. Most of it happened before the vows, so technically it wasn't cheating. My lawyer almost laughed out loud. The kicker? She actually asked for spousal support. Said she had sacrificed her career for me and deserved compensation. Meanwhile, I had bank statements showing thousands drained from our account for her trips with Cheryl and her sugar daddy friends. Her family backed her, of course. Cheryl showed up, smirking in the gallery, whispering loud enough for my parents to hear. He's just bitter because she grew out of him. But the evidence spoke louder. I had everything organized, receipts, screenshots, even testimony from one of her former flings who was more than happy to bury her after she ghosted him. When my lawyer laid it all out, the judge's face said it all: disgust. Verdict: divorce granted, no spousal support. I kept the house, the car, most of the assets. She walked away with nothing but her clothes, her mother's poison, and her crocodile tears. When the gavel came down, she broke. She dropped to her knees in the courtroom, sobbing, "Please, I'll change, I'll do anything, I can't live without him." The judge banged his gavel again, stern, "That's enough." And just like that, it was over. She lost me. She lost her safety net. She lost everything. After the divorce, Lauren's life unraveled fast. And honestly, watching it happen was the most satisfying revenge I never even had to plan. First, her rich friends vanished. Turns out none of those men wanted a broke divorcee with baggage once the free vacations and my money stopped flowing. The yacht invites, the resort trips, the champagne dinners? Gone. Next came her job. Or rather, the loss of it. Word travels fast in small circles, and somehow, maybe because I made sure the right screenshots circulated, her boss saw the truth. Within a month, she was unemployed. And then there was Cheryl. At first, her mother told everyone that Lauren was better off without me. But even Cheryl's patience has limits. When Lauren came crying to move back in, Cheryl told her to figure it out like a grown woman, and slammed the door in her face. Like mother, like daughter, loyalty meant nothing. By the time the dust settled, Lauren was living in a dingy apartment on the edge of town, working a part-time retail job, still posting old vacation photos on Instagram like anyone believed them. I'd hear rumors, her showing up drunk at bars, crying in bathrooms, chasing younger guys who wanted nothing to do with her. The final humiliation came through her little brother. He messaged me one night out of nowhere, "She's a mess. Honestly, man, you dodged a bullet. She keeps saying she wishes she'd picked you over mom's lifestyle. Too late now." When I read that, I didn't feel pity. I didn't feel anger. I felt free. Because her collapse wasn't my burden anymore. It was hers. And while she fell apart, I started building myself back up. The day the divorce papers were stamped, I went home, poured a drink, and sat in the silence of my own house. For the first time in years, the silence didn't feel like loneliness. It felt like peace. I started small. Joined a gym, mostly to burn off the rage, but it became therapy. Every mile on the treadmill, every rep with the weights, felt like I was sweating her poison out of me. Within a few months, I dropped pounds, gained muscle, and slept better than I had in a decade. Then I picked up hobbies I'd abandoned when I was too busy trying to fix Lauren. Guitar, hiking, cooking. I even joined a photography class on a whim, and damn, I fell in love with it. There's something about framing a shot, focusing on beauty, that healed something in me. Travel came next. My first solo trip was to Colorado. Mountains, crisp air, strangers who didn't know me as the guy with the cheating wife. Standing on a ridge at sunrise, I realized I hadn't felt truly alive in years. My family noticed the change too. My mom hugged me and whispered, "You look like my son again." My dad, not one for words, clapped my shoulder and said, "Proud of you, kid." That meant more than anything. Even my friends, the real ones, started coming back around. They told me I seemed lighter, funnier, more present. And they were right. Lauren's ghost still lingered in whispers and rumors, but she no longer owned space in my head. She was out there spiraling, chasing the lifestyle that ruined her, while I was rediscovering myself piece by piece. For the first time in a long time, I wasn't surviving. I was living. It's been almost a year since the divorce and I can finally breathe again. Sometimes I catch myself replaying everything. The lies, the tears, the way she dropped to her knees over and over, begging me not to leave while knowing damn well she had already betrayed me 100 times. I remember Cheryl's smug face, the family war at the restaurant, the courtroom circus. And then I remember how empty I felt through it all. But now, that emptiness is gone. I've built a new life for myself, healthier, stronger, happier. I got hobbies, friends, peace. I don't wake up wondering where she is or who she's with. I don't check her social media or stalk her phone records. I don't care anymore. Lauren? From what I hear, she's still spiraling. Different men, different bars, the same cycle her mom lived her whole life. And maybe that's all she'll ever be, Cheryl's shadow. Here's what I've learned, and what I want anyone reading this to take with them. Listen to your gut. If something feels off, it probably is. I ignored red flags for years because I wanted to believe in the fantasy. Don't make that mistake. People don't change just because you love them harder. I gave Lauren everything. Stability, loyalty, a future. She still chased chaos because it was in her blood. That's not on me. That's on her. Revenge is sweet, but freedom is sweeter. Exposing her at that anniversary dinner felt good, sure. Watching her fall apart was satisfying. But the real victory was walking away and rebuilding myself. You're not weak for hurting. I cried, I drank, I broke down. That doesn't make me weak. It makes me human. And it made me stronger when I finally stood up and said, enough. So if you're reading this and you're stuck with someone who lies, cheats, gaslights, and breaks you down, don't waste years waiting for them to become someone they'll never be. Walk away. Save yourself. Rebuild. Because the best revenge isn't making them pay. It's living a life so good they'll never be able to touch it. I have many other stories. Go to my channel, subscribe so you don't lose us. Give me a thumbs up.